So ladies and gentlemen, I would like to now call upon our panelists that we have for this discussion. Architect Piyush, Mehra, Principal Architect, PS Design. We have Mr. Shreyans Chowdhary, Director of Smato Technology. Architect Ashutosh, Principal Architect, Space Dynamix. And Mr. Jiří Konečný, CEO, ELKO EP Holdings. And could we please welcome our wonderful moderator and the panelists with a big round of applause, ladies and gentlemen. A bigger round of applause, please. Thank you so much. Moderator, the stage is all yours.
Hello, everyone. I'm Asis Kaur from One Digital. One Digital is India's first branding agency for architects, designers, and allied brands. We are here to talk about a panel discussion on the topic, the convergence of art and tech architectural expression in the age of smart living. It's a really interesting subject for me because here we talk about architecture, beyond architecture, and where we can tap areas like branding, we can tap areas like tech, smart integrated solutions, and design. So here we are. Let's welcome our panelists, and I'd like you guys to introduce yourselves. Can we start from you, Piyush?
Hi, I am Piyush Mehra. I'm from PS Design, and we are practice-based out of Bombay, and we're doing a lot of homes and bungalows across India and Dubai.
So next, we have Shreyans Chowdhary, founder of Smato Technologies. Over to you.
Hi, guys. Good afternoon. My name is Shreyans. I'm the founder of Smato. We do distribution of design-led brands across India. I'm one of the youngest entrepreneurs on the block, so we get some fresh perspective into the industry. So hopefully catch you guys at our booth as well.
And now let's hear it from architect Ashutosh, Principal Architect at Space Dynamix. Ashutosh, sir, if you could just give us a brief about your firm.
Hi, this is Ashutosh from Space Dynamix. I'm one of the partners at Space Dynamix. And we love using tech in all our projects. We are big fans of doing things in a new age manner. So loving this experience of the whole expo. Thank you.
Last but not the least, we have Jiří Konečný, CEO of ELKO EP Holding. Jiří, if you could just give us a brief overview about ELKO.
Hello to everyone. My name is Jiří Konečný, and I am the founder and the CEO of a company who developed and manufactures smart home and building system for more than 30 years.
All right. So delving into the discussion, my first question is to you, Piyush. So let's start with smart home technologies. So while actually integrating these technologies in a project, how do you balance the overall aesthetics and the interior grammars with the solutions?
So the idea is to start incorporating or sort of thinking about a space with respect to the technologies rather than retrofitting them later. So if you talk about maintaining the aesthetic appeal of a space,
Right.
Of course, all these smart products nowadays, they look good. Okay.
Right.
The only problem comes in when you've not thought about it at the inception of any project.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so that is very important. That once you start designing a space, you really think about it from the word go rather than retrofitting it later.
Right.
So that's a very important point that we always take care of, and the projects turn out good.
Right. Mr. Vad, since you are also a specifier, just wanted to...
As he rightly said, what has happened because of use of tech is that a lot of things have to be done upfront, which makes it easy for the designer and also for the end user to understand that lighting design, the entire technology part, be it security systems, which we all use as a tech part. So now it's all going under a single BOQ of technology. So we call it a technology BOQ,
Right.
which takes care of security, Wi-Fi, everything. So documentation happens in a much better manner. And small things like how art is integrated in a project. And I call art as a piece of furniture, not only a wall art. You know, everything is a piece of art. So all those things can be, portrayed in a much better manner with technology. Lighting plays a very important role.
Right.
Technology and lighting go always in hand. So at the onset of the project, I think we ourselves, if I look at what we were doing 10 years back when we were not
Right.
using technology, and today we are doing documentation at a much faster, at an initial period than what we used to do before. So much of the thought process is done initially rather than later, which I think value adds a lot to the project.
Right. So my next question is to you, Shreyans. This question is very important. It talks about user feedback. So I think everybody in architecture fraternity actually focuses on how he can make the client happy. The specifier's main goal is to make the client satisfied. So I'd want to understand, how does this work for you? How does the system works for you in terms of users' response?
Yeah, definitely. So there are two things that we keep in mind when we design a space. One thing that we really focus on is minimalism, and the other thing is simplicity. I keep telling all my clients and architects that we work with, let's not overcomplicate something which is extremely simple.
Right.
Automation is supposed to simplify your living and not make it more complicated.
Exactly.
So talking about what technology, what protocol you're using does not make any sense to the customer. You need to talk to him what's going to improve for him once the products are installed. So rather than talking, we'll throw wires from here to there, or talk about that we need to use KNX or Lutron, they don't care. They want to know like how I'm going to use my keypads, how is it going to look on my wall, what kind of benefits I'm getting. So we talk more about the user experience rather than talking about the tech that goes behind it. And secondly, I also want to add what both the architects just said, like involve us from phase one, because what happens, I'll give you a very small example. Who has seen over here the ugly setup box consoles in the house where you have like five setup boxes lying around? There are like wires hanging all around. But just if you involved us from day one, you could just get rid of that entire thing with just a little bit of technology involved. And you just have a nice wall with your television flushed into it, and there's no clutter at all. So reducing clutter, making it simplified, making it minimalistic, I think that's what the technology has improved over the last few years.
And does anybody else has a content?
Yeah, also, what I feel a major help that a smart technology would give is integration of all the things. I mean, you don't want to see 10 remotes lying down. One is for this and one is for that. So a good automation system for a home is where everything is integrated. So like you said, it's to declutter the entire thing and like give the user a very good experience in terms of functionality. It should be super simple, very streamlined,
Absolutely.
and extremely less hassle.
Yeah.
But that is the challenge that you face on a day-to-day basis. You have 5 remotes and 5 different apps for each remote.
Right.
Imagine everything under one roof. That's the best automation.
Also, I think the complexities of a project that were happening across a bandwidth of 6 months are now centered in the first month.
Right.
Although it's complex for the team to understand the requirements from the client and then document it with the integrator. But rather than having those, earlier it was happening that everyone was doing everything, but they were doing it across a bandwidth of 6 months. And and the continuous addition of tech, mujhe ye chahiye, I want this now to be added. And whether the system supports, you get a funky chandelier from some top-notch brand, and then the integrator doesn't know whether it's going to patch up with the system that is in place. So what is happening now is, like I said earlier, that all those complexities are done in the first 15 days. And I think that's the way forward.
I agree with all what they said, and from the view of the manufacturer, we call that smart home could be smarter than the user. Yeah, and I agree with this integration, which is the most topic which we spend a lot of time of the R&D, because many apps, many technologies, even the AC, swimming pool, even the technology on the garden, windows, doors, garage, and so on. So we spend a lot of time to integrate it only to the one app, yes, because the customer or the users who live in the house doesn't want to have 5-6 controllers, thermostat for humidity, temperature, AC, and so on. He wants to set up the temperature. So this is very, very important, much more important than the technology which is on the back end.
All right. In fact, my next question again is to you, Jiří. So delving into the synergy between art and technology, let's explore how art and technology can work together as a collaboration to evoke emotions and, to stimulate our senses. Like, how do you see this collaboration unfolding?
Yes, it's also very important questions and topic because many architects or the investors came to the architects too late. So it means it's, I have typical examples, some hotel in Dubai when the wall was decorated by very expensive teak wood, and then they decided for the smart technology, guest room management system, and it was too late, yes. So they spent a lot of money and time to redesign for the smart. So important is the discussion with the architects on the beginning, take them for the showroom, show him the materials, show him the possibilities, and find the right way, because no one wants to control from the touch panel. Yes, many of the customers want to use conventional buttons. Yes, no one wants to likes glass, yes, wants to use metro. So the materials and how the controls are integrated to the wall and to the installation, it's important. But for the beginning, in the early stage, not late.
All right. Anybody else wants to?
Yeah, so let's paint a picture for the audience that they might understand. 10 years ago, when you walked into the apartment, what do you have on your wall? You have like 20 different switches, which goes tick and talk.
Right.
I'm confused when I enter my house. Which switch should I turn on first, right?
Yes.
What's that turned into today, and how you integrate the smart tech? You just have a nice metallic keypad on the wall, which is replacing all of that clutter already. So again, it brings back to my point of minimalism, right? You want to reduce the clutter in the house, which automatically improves or beautifies your house in a way as well.
What was happening is, like he rightly said, and he said a lot of switches. If you see homes that every one of us have done, let's say 10 years back,
Yeah.
a big 1,000 square feet, let's say living room, and with so many switches, the lighting experience was never created because it's impossible for somebody to go on with like 20 switches. So
Yeah.
now rather कि corner का lighting चालू है where you are centered, and the remaining lighting is not experienced. Today
Right.
with the settings that are possible in every automation system, you are creating an experience. So you're being able to lit up the entire space at optimum lighting that you want, rather than just burning 4 into, let's say, 12 watts in one corner. Now you're doing the same 48 across 12 fittings at a 4-watt outage per light. And plus,
Right.
that's what is optimally required for you to, when you're just sitting and hanging around. So experiences can be created in a much better manner. Even lighting can be created, optimal lighting, not overly done lighting, which is what we all used to do because we didn't have the grasp of technology that time. And now, because of these things, focus on art. Let's say if a designer has a viewpoint that this is a place where a piece of art, a sculpture, or a piece of furniture, or a piece of something that he has designed is going to come, the right amount of lighting there is very important. Now, that is going to be only facilitated with good tech. To
Right.
have that there, and also human-centric. Human-centric is not about just changing the color temperature from
Exactly.
daylight to warm light.
Right.
Human-centric, I think, in the future with a lot of AI will be to understand every human's requirement. That when I enter, what are things that make my sensory adjustments?
Right.
Things like a light in a particular corner. I don't like light being seen. I like it from the back, from where I enter. Or let's say perfume. I like smelling a certain perfume, and that could get that fragrance could be in the room when I enter at the end of a day. So the whole AI experience will be added to technology, making everyone's life the way they feel like living. To the
Right.
extent of starting a program that I like. So I like
Absolutely.
listening to a particular music. It starts there, and then I always have the option to
Exactly.
set it off. So that's what is user experience in the future for.
Yeah, also when you talk about stimulating the senses, like how the question said, you have to also understand how it is very important how a space that you've designed reveals itself.
Right.
Go into. Like there are two major components to it. One is of course lighting, another is sound.
Right.
Imagine entering a nice home, the lights turn on automatically. There is a nice soft music playing around. So that really stimulates the entire environment as opposed to, just opening the door, switching on the light
Exactly.
and playing something out of your phone. So a same space can reveal itself in two different ways, and that really enhances the user experience. So as an architect, this is my point of view when you talk about stimulating the senses.
So, sorry.
No, it's okay.
So when he said stimulating of sensory organs, overexposure of light. When you come in and when a light starts suddenly, it's proven that it doesn't stimulate your senses well. It doesn't have a calming effect vis-a-vis the same light burning across an intensity of, let's say, 10 seconds.
Right.
So that part, suddenly, even when I'm talking of a perfume, you don't like to be exposed to the perfume suddenly, you'll feel it's over. But if it's stimulated in the right quantity, in the right area, very similar to light and very similar to sound. You don't want the sound to start at a much higher volume. You want it to start at all these three things combined, and at the end of a stressful day, it is going to create a very, very positive balance
Right.
on body. Even if it means that there is 5 minutes you enter into the room, you really calm down,
So actually, this brings me to my next question, which I would like to direct to you, Mr. Ward. So I'm sure when you pitch your clients about smart home integrations, they have some pre-assumptions like it will be more complicated, the process will go complicated, it will not be cost effective. So is there a narrative, is there a strategy that you can apply to this, like that you usually use in this scenario?
It's a very good question. So this is the first time when we expose a client to tech. The first thing is most clients don't say no,
Yeah.
but they don't say yes at the onset. So they always have those, question marks, like in those cartoon things, the question marks looming around that, whether the integrator will do a good job, whether small things like Wi-Fi chalega kya, and
Exactly.
bankable on Wi-Fi, or whether it's wired, etc., etc. Most people miss out, and I think that's where not only architects but integrators also need to keep this in mind, that tech is not about luxury only, and that's where I think a lot of us misinterpret in India that tech is
Right.
luxury. Tech for me is not luxury, The big aspect behind tech is first being sustainable.
Exactly.
It's a sustainability module.
Exactly.
Tech automation has to be first used thinking that I'm trying to conserve on energy.
In
for
fact,
this whole
I
country,
think right
because-
now, sustainable luxury, rather than having sustainability on board, sustainable luxury is the new, the thing that architects, the specifier end has to be savvy about.
Yeah, absolutely. Small example. AC, where we cannot live without aircon now.
Right.
Let's assume that,
Yeah.
And imagine pura night AC jal raha hai.
Obviously.
How do we take advantage of tech? That anybody will say कि timer लगाओ AC को, timer तो 10 साल से है, 15 साल से है. But then if the AC shuts off, do we get up in the night to start the fan? No. So
Exactly.
what tech does is that it stops the aircon. It understands my requirement of aircon, personal requirement of aircon, whether I like it at an X temperature, shuts it off at a point, goes into that 4-hour window when it doesn't use energy,
Right.
starts again in the morning. A small thing you multiply, let's say 3-4 bedroom house across 365 days and 10 years, the figure will be eye-popping,
Right.
The amount of energy that is conserved will be eye-popping. We buy light fittings, let's say at X wattage.
Right.
Normally X by 2 is also good enough if you're just moving around the house. So what the tech is doing is, again, I'm saying it's using optimal light, and then finally energy is being conserved.
Right.
It's consumed less. Sun path. If you
Yeah.
follow the sun path well, if the integrator follows the sun path of every house very well, looks at how the curtains are managed with the sun path, they can ensure that the heat in the home throughout the day is at its minimum if the curtains are managed well. Now, what happens if the heat is at minimum, that when you typically, most homes use aircon in the night, let's say most homes.
Yeah.
When the AC starts, if the curtains are managed well and less exposure to sunlight. So the temperature of the space is already less for the aircon to cool it. That means less amount of energy is used. Now nobody does this math that if this is done across X days, X years, a lot of energy is going to, and everybody is going to have lakhs of homes doing that.
Right.
So I think the sustainability model has to be sold to the clients and well adapted, and that's something which I feel designers can sell, but the integrators can adapt and implement. So the
Right.
ball is in their court for that.
Jiri, what's your take on it?
I have one message to the architects. It means that they should discuss before they job started with the technology suppliers, because if they will find AC, for example, suppliers and manufacturers which work together with the smart home systems, then the user experience is much more, how to say, fine, because they can control from the one devices. And renewable energy is very hot topic in Europe, when I am from, because solar energy is booming because of the cost. And we, in the last 2 years, integrated more than 20,000 houses to the with the solar energy to the system, because it's very important. Also electric cars, solar energy, and the energy management in the house. Yes, even all the manufacturers and suppliers of the solar has some small systems. But again, if this system work in the smart home, it needs better integration.
Yeah, just wanted to come back to the first thing which he said was, what's the first reaction when they pitch a smart home versus when we pitch smart home to our clients. The first question I get asked is, रात को 12 बजे मेरा light नहीं चलेगा तो आपको phone थोड़ी ना करूँगा. But that's the problem. The automation has more fail-safe than a regular switch has. I always say that our integrators in the market today, they sell instead of doing education. So I think we need to educate first and then sell, because the education will automatically do the selling at the end of the day. So the lack of education in the market is really creating this misconceptions about how complicated tech can be, but it's in fact as simple as it can get. And so the message over here that I want to give is we should do much more on the education front rather than doing more on the selling front.
Right. So, Piyush, do you have a contemplation on it?
So the only challenge that I've faced while using automation systems and smart home systems is that you need to give a full disclosure to the client that it's not only the automation system, the other things associated to the systems, whether it be the audio visual, be the lights. Of course, I mean, if you're buying a like a good automation system where you need a good dimming, the drivers for the lights will be expensive. And of course, you need really good quality lights. You cannot have like Chinese lights and have a very good automation system. The lights keep on conking off. So the wiring costing, for example, that increases. So as long as you, like Akane said initially, that this needs to be planned on the initial stages.
Right.
So you need to educate the clients that, okay, these are the additional costings. It's not just the automation system. Other places also the cost is going to increase. And the clients are okay, then you are in a correct path.
Right.
And you know that you'll not face any challenges later on. You don't have a shocker, okay, why is this wiring bill so high? Why is this light more expensive than the regular price?
Absolutely.
So it's all about disclosure. So it depends on how you plan it well. And that's the only challenge I faced in initial stages of the project. But now we make sure that we give the entire picture of the entire
the
thing. This is
initial
how it is,
stage.
and it's never a problem.
So do you have some,
What we try to tell the clients is that you're going to experience a whole new lifestyle change.
Right.
And that, like gentleman said, has to be informed to the client. And most clients today accept that. It's like we're not going to, for example, we're not going to go back to a button wala phone. Na? Nobody will be able to use it.
Right.
Nobody. So it's the same thing. We adapted to a touch screen. Now we will adapt to automation, just that, like I said, how we use it and how we make our lifestyles more comfortable and more sustainable with automation is the challenge. And I'm sure we all will, be able to master that. We're a country which is going to use the maximum amount of energy that this whole world.
Right.
So I think we should not only consume, but we should also conserve the same amount of energy. And this tech platform will make a huge difference for them.
I absolutely agree. So, all right, sure.
One last thing to add. I always tell our clients also, never go shop for brands or products in the market. You'll find dime a dozen out there. Go shop for people. This is like a people's industry. It's a more service-based industry. It's not a product-based industry. So get the right person to do the job for you. The products will fall in place automatically.
Right. So I was actually expecting my last question to be everybody's favorite, but this was definitely everybody's favorite. So my last pointer of discussion is the most famous discussion pointer in the world of architecture, that is bringing the equilibrium between form and function. So how does the functionality aspect driven by smart home solutions balances the artistic vision of a project for you? Like, I'd want everybody to answer, so we can start with Jerry.
From my side is the integration of the technology, because as I said before, as the smart home is the full of the technology, important if the technology understand each other. Yeah, so this is for me, and as I see the main aspect for the smart home.
Mr. Van.
So honestly, I feel design and technology are completely different things, that they're not going to affect negatively or positively, yes, but negatively, so no for sure.
Right.
So I think both are going to so for me, designing a home or an office or a building or anything with technology or without technology, I think should remain the same. I may be wrong, but the process can only be made better with technology. The overall experience definitely will be made. So output of my design with technology will be, in a positive way, much different than what we were doing 10 years back, lighting systems. And I think we in India are still at a very nascent stage of lighting. Lighting is a subject which is not, catered well. And the tech part, the home automation part will give a huge boost to lighting technology, and that will only enhance the spaces hence.
Right.
Yeah, adding to what Ashutosh said, I think like use of technology in general is for architects, for me, is, I would say is like a tool, is to enhance whatever I want to do or want to present in terms of a spatial design. So, and of course, the systems are really good nowadays. As a designer, I'm really intrigued by whatever new things that come up in terms of automation and how they look. And nowadays we have switch plates that sort of integrate with the wall finish as well. So it is already a boon for the design. So it's always helped. It sort of enhances. So I think they go hand in hand.
Okay.
For example, the Taj Mahal was always brilliant. It's considered that for any of our architectural monuments, you look at an Ellora temple. So 25 years back, when lighting was not as evolved, the whole ambience of a Taj Mahal or an Ellora was much different than what it is today.
Right.
You look at some brilliant pictures of what lighting can do to these monuments.
Absolutely.
And the earlier generation might not have seen those, I can be saying ugly pictures, but if you look at today's context, those pictures look ugly. What we were taught in history of architecture, Taj Mahal ka photo, and today what pictures are coming out on the internet of most of these monuments, and they are basically because the whole lighting industry enhanced with automation and technology has taken it to a new level, and it's only going to go higher. So every structure, be it an interiors or architecture, is only going to go ahead in terms of, but the form, the design, I think will remain constant.
Right.
That will be a product of what a designer will come up with. And like he said, the technology will only enhance it to a different level.
So, Shreyans, since we are like a short on time, so if you could just...
I just believe in one line, design and technology go hand in hand. You cannot have one without the other. So all of our co-panelists briefed everything in the right manner. So.
All right. So concluding this discussion, I would like to thank you all for reiterating your experiences, the relationship between art, architecture, and technology. And thank you for being a lovely audience. Thank you, Smart Home Expo, for having us. And thank you, everyone.
Thank you, Asis. Thank you so much for moderating the session. A big thank you to our panelists as well. I request you all to kindly come together for a quick photo op. And as a token of our appreciation, we would like to felicitate you with a memento as well. To do the honors, may I please invite on stage Mr. Ketan Seth, Chairperson of the Interior Institute of Interior Designers, Mumbai. And a big thank you once again to our wonderful moderator and the panelists that we have back here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a very interesting presentation coming up next, which is a talk on digital privacy and platforms. And Mr. Adam Merlino, Vice President and General Manager, Asia Pacific, Snap One, would be giving this presentation. May I request you guys to kindly stay back for this one if digital privacy and knowing about the platforms is what you want to learn more about. May I request you guys to kindly stay back and I have to be very, very honest. I found this panel discussion very, very interesting, and some really fine points were actually brought out. Like automation, the main aim of automation was actually to simplify, not to complicate. But people tend to complicate it a lot more, and I think you said that very well. And also this very interesting part of when you're pitching in smart home integration, it's very important to actually educate your clients as opposed to just pitching in. I have a very cool question to ask our panelists very quickly. Anyone could get this, okay? What is the coolest technology that you've seen at home in India or abroad? The coolest tech that's actually been integrated at homes. Anyone back here?
I think the touch panels that not only open the doors, very small thing, but they are keypads by itself. They came up long time back, but I think that was like the whole new shift into. So I come in, I swipe my finger, and my settings start. It plays my music at one touch, which was, I think, at that point of time, very path-breaking, and it'll go into a next level soon.
Beautiful. Judy, would you like to add something to it?
Yes, the most important what I saw, it was the pet feeding, cats and dog feeding station.
The what station?
Feeding.
Feeding the pet station, really? Where was this at?
It's from some China, but it was smart and integrated to the smart home.
Oh my goodness, that's absolutely fantastic. All right, one last question, okay? What's the wildest automation request you guys have received?
Ceiling mein projection.
Ceiling with projection. What do they want to be projected?
Which is possible, but nobody has done that, I guess. So, sleeping on the bed, I should be able to see a cinema on the screen. Someone actually asked me this question. I said, we've not done it, but we'll leave it to the integrated.
Is that possible? With technology?
Yeah, it's definitely possible.
Really?
Yeah. Everything is possible. So like we have a thumb rule. We say yes before we know it's possible and then figure it out how to do it.
Figure it out after that. All right. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you so much, panelists. Thank you so much, moderator. And please give a big, big, big round of applause for them. Thank you so much.